in and record the session so that we're able to share this with you later on, and you'll have all of the vital information that was included in there. So on the Zoom platform, the Q&A features are on here. Please, by all means, jot down your questions and answers as you see fit. And at the end of each section, we will be able to go through them and hopefully answer them to our best of our ability. So today, a quick overview. You're going to be hearing from our president and CEO, Dr. Katie Leonard. We're going to give you some general Johnson College information, and then talk about our electronic industrial program, which is the highlight of tonight's virtual open house, our division, and do some virtual tours on our website. And those programs include advanced manufacturing technology, biomedical equipment technology, computer information technology, electronic engineering technology, and welding technology. Followed by that, we're going to hear from different student resources that Johnson College offers, including financial aid, academic advising, career services, just to name a few. And then after each section, like I said, you will be able to do a Q&A portion where the questions you submitted will be answered. So now I'm going to turn this over to our president and CEO, Dr. Katie Leonard.
Great. Thanks so much, Bill. Hi, everyone. Welcome. As Bill mentioned, I'm Dr. Katie Leonard, President and CEO of the college. Thank you so much for joining us for our first ever virtual open house series. How cool is this that we're all able to connect during a time like this? I think that this type of culture, one that troubleshoots and looks for creative solutions, is one that we've built at Johnson College. We really don't see problems, we see opportunities. We work to be the leader in the essential industries that are so critical to the lives of every American now more than ever. Johnson College provides real-world, hands-on learning in a caring environment and prepares graduates to enter into or advance in their careers. Here you will not find a more caring group of people. It started with our founder, Orlando S. Johnson, and continues with us today. Our collective goal has always been to provide students with an education that leads to a family-sustaining wage and a career to be proud of. This is more important now more than ever before because industry needs us more than ever before. I'm still getting calls and emails every day from employers looking for our students with the types of skills that they possess. The message is clear. As a Johnson College student, you are essential to the workforce. It is the reason our in-field job placement rate is so high year after year. Something that we like to say here at the college is that when industry calls, we answer, and we certainly deliver by providing you, the student, with live labs through our industry immersion program, a dynamic internship experience, and the exposure to industry from day one. We set you up for success in your chosen field, and we help strengthen the workforce in the communities around us. Johnson College is a ready-to-get-to-work college. Our greatest strengths continue to be our size, the speed at which we get students into the workplace, and our reputation for producing the best technicians and technologists around. We are the leaders in hands-on education, committed to fulfilling our mission to our students. Nothing deters us from this. That is what makes Johnson College and our students the essential and powerful part of the workforce. Together, we will continue to demonstrate just how we work. I hope you will join us for the journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leonard. Now, before I introduce Alex Ellsworth, our Assistant Director of Enrollment, I do just want to say that depending on what platform you're using, if you're using mobile or desktop, you can change the view at which you see. So the presentation, you could share the screen, and then on your phone, you could swipe over to see either the participants speaking, the panelists speaking, or the webinar itself. So please feel free, like I said, to view it as you wish. So right now, I'm going to introduce Alex Ellsworth, our Assistant Director of Enrollment, to give a brief overview on Johnson College.
All right, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Dr. Katie, as well. I hope everyone's having a good night so far. Again, this is our first time doing this, so a little bit of a unique experience with some of the day-to-day happenings that are going on in the world. Like Bill said, I am the Assistant Director of Enrollment here at Johnson College, so I do oversee the department. I'm just going to kind of go over some quick specifics regarding Johnson College and our background to fill you in on a little bit more. So first thing you're going to see here, there is a logo that we're very proud of. So last year, Forbes magazine did a ranking of technical colleges in the nation. We were actually ranked number 10 in the nation, the number 10 ranked trade school in the nation, Johnson College in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So we're very proud of that fact. As far as some reasons why students do choose Johnson College, we have 14 associate degree programs at Johnson College. So those are programs that if you're going full-time, they would take 2 years or 4 college semesters. We have 3 academic certificate programs. So same idea, they only just take 1 year though, and they take 2 college semesters if going full-time. Again, we always talk about at Johnson, we're a hands-on technical school. So we really talk about the, starting kind of from the, with the end in mind. So you can see, I'm going to skip down to that statistic there. We have an 86% infield job placement rate, 86%. So in today's economy, there's always different specifics coming up regarding student loans, debt, things like that, and finding jobs after. 86%. So we're really proud of that. And how do we do that? We have small class sizes at Johnson. So we have about 450 students overall. Our average hands-on lab is about 15, anywhere from 10 to 15 students. Our core classes might be around maybe 20 to 25, but again, your instructors are going to know you by name. We have that caring faculty and staff, and they provide that personalized attention to our students. So like Dr. Katie said, we're a small and mighty school. Again, just with this hands-on education, Johnson, we make sure our students have real-world preparation. So we always say we have industry-driven training. Now, our curriculum is designed by industry for industry. So what do I mean by that? All of our instructors that are at Johnson have worked in the field. It's not like they graduated last year and then just came back to teach. They have all worked in the field for a considerable amount of time and then have come back to teach. Many are Johnson College alumni. Many did go to different schools as well. But they have been in the real world, so they've seen these things. So not only do they have that experience, but we work with the industry across the area too. Just to give you an example, automotive, right now there's a lot going on. Cars have more, they're more computerized, more automated than ever. So we speak with people that are in the field to make sure that our curriculum is matching up to that. And then we also talk about the soft skills a lot. So we know the hands-on preparation is what we specialize in, but we also want to make sure that when a student's going out and applying for a job, that they're able to, do that interview appropriately, that they're able to know how to conduct themselves. So again, we really try to back these things up, this hands-on training with those soft skills at Johnson College. Just some quick facts too about Johnson College. How we got our name, we were actually founded in 1912. So we've been around for over 100 years. Our founder was Orlando S. Johnson. Johnson College is a 2-year private nonprofit school. So we're pretty unique in the Northeastern Pennsylvania area. There are no other schools like us. What's great about that is we have that hands-on work, like we said, but you're also getting that, that private feel. So you have smaller class sizes. Our accreditation right now is actually through ACCSC. It's the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. Right now, though, we're very proud. We're actually going through the candidacy stage of accreditation with Middle States Commission on Higher Education. And then just a quick idea as far as our tuition. For the year, it's just under $18,000. So like I had mentioned, these 1-year certificate programs or the 2-year associate degree programs, a 1-year certificate program would be, that $17,700. 2-year associate degree would be that times 2. And then we also do have a campus housing option, which we'll get to a little bit later. And the cost for that is just over $7,000. So today's focus, like Bill Burke had mentioned, is going to be the electronic and industrial technology programs at Johnson. So all of our programs are lined up in different divisions. So again, tonight's focus, advanced manufacturing technology, biomedical equipment technology, computer information technology, electronic engineering technology, and welding technology. So we're going to hear actually from the program directors right after this. They'll go through some specifics regarding, their programs, give you a little bit of an overview, and we'll have time for some questions. So I'm going to pass it back to Bill.
Thank you, Alex. So right now, I am going to turn it over to our Advanced Manufacturing Technology Program Director, Mr. Cole Goldstein, who's going to give you an overview on the Advanced Manufacturing Program. Cole, take it away.
Hi, everybody. So to start off, I wanted to basically explain what we mean by advanced manufacturing. When we talk about advanced manufacturing, we're actually referring to the manufacturing field as a whole, but how do those changes happen over the last 100 years? So as you can see right now, that we're looking at kind of an old image of our lab. It's been updated since this, actually. And on this left side right here that Bill's panning through is actually our old school style of work. It's all the manual equipment, grinders and sanders off to the left there, where you can start to see the bandsaws, vertical and horizontal right there in the center. And you'll see all of our mill centers and lathe centers on the right side there. And if Bill can pan all the way around, you'll actually see the other side of the lab, which is quite a bit different now and a lot more filled in. Mr. Fornes will talk about some of this, I'm sure. Right in front of those two giant cases, those are actually robots. And in the center there, we actually now have 12 CAD computers with each having their own 3D printer and PLC centers. Off to the left, there's a gigantic 3D printer, and off to the right, the students actually build a 3D printer off to the left there. Off to the right, you'll actually see we have our CNC centers. What we actually do in advanced manufacturing is we do plastics and metals manufacturing, and we teach those things. So you'll start off with a lot of manual equipment, and you'll slowly go through the process of learning how to use mills and lathes to actually form metal and plastic parts, create assemblies, learn how to read schematics and part diagrams, all the way through to what I like to call our actual advanced manufacturing side, which is the 3D printers, PLCs, robotics, and CNC equipment. So basically, robots on one side, manual manpower on the other. So our advanced manufacturing department is actually pretty small but mighty. We have a great job outlook right now. And it's one of those programs that if you are passionate about manufacturing and making things and wanting to be able to make things, you're going to be in a great shape after you get through it. So, yeah, I think that's about it. If anybody's got any questions, you can see my information off to the left, and I'm sure they'll include it in this presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions now or later.
Thank you, Cole. Absolutely. But while the questions come in, you can take a look on our website on the advanced manufacturing side. It gives a really good program overview. In addition to talking about career opportunities, program learning goals, it actually lists the course outlines and the technical standards of the program. While during this time where we can have people on campus, you could take the virtual tour of the labs and many other labs that we offer on the campus, so you guys can get that feel, of what it will look like. And one thing that I always talk about in advanced manufacturing is that, wow, this lab is pretty clean, which is one thing that for the most part you don't really think of manufacturing, but that's where it is going today. It is more of that clean, temperature controlled kind of environment. So right now I'll ask Alex Ellsworth if he wants to take a look to see if there are any questions for Mr. Goldstein.
Sure, Bill. We actually do have 2 questions. So Cole, if you could answer these for me, please. Someone wants to know what type of companies hire graduates from this programs, and the other one was, where can I work with this degree? So kind of both of those are along the same lines.
Yeah, in fact, actually, our program is pretty unique in the sense that you can take these skills anywhere in the world you want to live. So that's really great. Currently, we have graduates at Steamtown National Historic Park that are working on the locomotives. We have students that are working at Lockheed Martin, working on aerospace industry parts. AMM is another local company in Oliphant that we have students at. And we also have students at places like that do home automation work as well. So what I like to say is I have one of my favorite students of all time, Fernando. He graduated from the program. He's now sitting on our PAC committee, which is our program advisory council. And he works on multi-million-dollar houses, actually automating blinds and shades and electronic systems and home security and doing all sorts of really cool software, hardware mix. So it's a really great program in the sense that since there is an electronics conversation, you do have that PLC background as well, you can take it really in a lot of different directions.
Excellent. Thanks, Cole.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and we do have one other one as well. Looks like a prospective student wants to know if they're doing 3D printing, if they can design some of their own creations.
Oh, absolutely. I am a huge fan of that. As long as it's not something that would be illegal on campus, I am all for it. If you want to build your own robots or do all sorts of your own personal design work, I'd be happy to also work with you to like help perfect some of those 3D models and get them 3D printing. And really, you know, the sky's the limit. We'd like to see the lab operating 24/7 if we can.
Excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Goldstein. And of course, for more information, you could definitely visit the website again, or reach out to enrollment or Cole directly himself for more questions. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our Biomedical Equipment Technology Program Director, Mr. Doug Hampton, who's going to talk about the Biomedical Equipment Technology Program. Mr. Hampton.
Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Hampton, Program Director for Biomedical Equipment Technology. I have nearly 30 years experience in the field, and I'm well acquainted with all of the facilities in the area and their personnel. Most hospitals across the country have biomedical technicians working there to take care of their equipment, and that's what the technicians call themselves, biomedical technicians or biomeds, or even BMETs. The career field's known as healthcare technology management. We do not manage people, but we manage healthcare technology. And it's very important that, that the equipment, patient care equipment, healthcare equipment be properly maintained. And it's actually a matter of importance for the accreditation of the hospitals across the country. They have to have good programs and for taking care of their equipment, and that's what biomeds do. We make sure things are working properly. We're going around and testing devices even when they're not broken. We are going out and making sure that everything is working right. But also, if things do fail, then we fix them ourselves or get them fixed. Biomeds have to have good interpersonal skills because they work with all of the healthcare providers, doctors, nurses, medical technicians, lab technicians, and those people are there to do a job. And if their equipment isn't working right, it's a big problem for them, and our job is to make sure they get back to being able to provide health care as soon as possible. It helps to have an aptitude for technology because biomeds are about the only technology, well, they're the main technology savvy people in hospitals. They get called on for all kinds of things. And the medical equipment as a field covers a huge range of devices. We take our incoming freshmen, we train them for an entire year on electronics. The whole first academic year is electronics because that's mainly the basis for most medical equipment, but it isn't everything. There's hydraulics, there's optics, there's chemistry. There's just no end to the number of different aspects of technology that biomeds get involved with. You need to be conscientious and do a real good job because this is important stuff. In the second year, we take the students and train them on real medical equipment, lots of hands-on. You learn how to test it, learn how to take it apart, figure out what the parts are, and do repairs when needed. As a graduate, an entry-level technician, you would start on general medical equipment. And in most jobs are in hospitals, but there are service technicians working for third-party servicers and also for the manufacturers who make the medical equipment. They all have their own service staff. So there's lots of potential jobs out there. There's a shortage right now of technicians. The entry-level technicians who have reported back to me are making, depending on the area of the country they work in, $38,000 to $47,000 a year to start. The median income is closer to 60. Let's see. To be a biomed, you need to have a good driving record, clean background check. It helps to have full color vision because there's color coding for components and wiring and things like that. But it's an excellent field. They need people out there. You can go nearly anywhere in the country you want to go. And with all the job openings out there, most any city or area of the country you wanted to pick, you could find a job there. Local area, fewer jobs in the local area. Some grads will be able to stay in the area to be biomeds, but others may have to leave the area because it depends on our class size and the number of job openings that particular year. Let me see. I'm sure I've left something out. Are there any questions out there?
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Right now, we'll check with Alex, but again, just like Mr. Hampton said, you can view the website. It'll talk about career opportunities. You can get some more information on the technical standards. This will kind of talk about daily tasks and kind of physical requirements of the job that is required. So we'll ask Alex right now. Take a look, see if there's any questions out there for Mr. Hampton.
Sure. So we actually do have a question. A student wants to know if we do any off-campus work for, any on-campus work during their time at Johnson. So I think there'd be more internships along those lines.
An internship is required to graduate, and that's the only off-campus work that would probably be arranged because of the medical liabilities and things like that. It isn't likely that we would be participating in any repairs off campus. We do encourage students to bring things in, though. Anything that needs repair, it's very difficult to find anything that doesn't relate somehow to medical equipment. And so any kind of repair needs to be done, home appliances, car stereo, anything to bring in just to look at, and we'll give it a try. We encourage that.
Great.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
Mr. Hampton.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. And next, I would like to introduce the program director for Computer Information Technology, pretty much the program that single-handedly helps us throughout this situation we're in doing remotely. Right, Mr. Polinsky?
Hi. Computer Information Technology covers a lot of things. It's a very broad scoped curriculum, and the reason for that is there are many areas of information technology you could get a job, many areas. Pardon me. Some of them would be server support, network support, PC repair, wide area networking. I'll get back to that. We're going around the lab here. On the left, you see our server racks, somewhat different. We changed them around a little bit. In this rack that's right in front of us now, there are 30 routers instead of the routers being on the other side of the room. We moved them over here, so they're a little easier to get at. The servers you see in the last two racks, they're actually built by CIT students. If you notice, there aren't any keyboards, mice, nowhere to sit. Yeah, we remote in. We'll remote in and do all the work remotely to simulate exactly what you'll see in real life. I've been in this business since I hate to even say it, but anyway, I think I can count the number of servers that I've worked on one hand that I could touch. What other things do we get into? PC repair. Now, our lab has newer computers and a newer smart board. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying about our program, We'll teach PC repair and maintenance. We'll teach network, a little design, a lot of repair and maintenance and building. You'll build a network, you'll build a computer. We test networks, we test computers. Same with servers, server operating systems, they're network operating systems. This year we're doing server 12, server 16, and a little touch of server 19. Next year it'll be server 16 and 19, and we do Linux as well. We have a whole semester of Linux. Linux is important. Why? Because over 90% of the web servers on the internet, they're not Windows. Mr. Gates and company would love to get that market, but nah. They're either Unix or Linux, so you need to know that. Network addressing, TCP IP, it's in everything, including home automation. Who would have thought it? Anyway, you have to know that. LAN and WAN design, and then by the way, web programming, one, which is all the scripting that runs on the PCs, web programming two, all the scripting that runs on the servers. And hey, guess what? Next year, we're starting something new with Johnson. Well, CIT anyway. Amazon Web Services basics. What does that mean? AWS, as they like to call themselves, currently are looking for people, just a few, like 20,000 empty jobs they can't seem to fill because nobody knows how to do their stuff. Well, after next year, there'll be at least 25 students that are graduates from CIT that will know a little bit about that. Okay, where else can you work? By the way, those jobs are here. They're in big cities and they're all over the world. And a lot of them you can actually remote in from home and do it in your pajamas and fuzzy bedroom slippers. Now, where else can you work? You can work, we have some people work around here. We have a number of students that leave the area. We have some of them in Atlanta. We have some of them in Texas. We have some of them in California. The graduates, some of them that do want to move, they'll go just about anywhere. What kind of jobs? PC repair jobs. They're like the entry level. They're the entry level and the bottom of the pay scale. Server support, network support. We have a lot of students around here that are doing that sort of stuff. Where hospitals and for outsourcing companies. Pardon me, web programming, it's everywhere. Database stuff, yes, we go over database stuff as well, and some programming. So there are jobs in that part of the field. I wanted to say something else. Security. We do, pardon me, a security plus class. And now to get into security, to get into IT security, you need at least a BS and you need some experience. Well, we have that covered too. Penn College in Williamsport has a 4-year, has a degree that we transfer into. 2 years from here, 2 years from there, you get a degree from Johnson College, and you get a network security degree from an NSA accredited school. Also, SUNY takes our credits, so you can become either network or security from them. Keystone, same thing, mostly programming from Keystone. And there is one other avenue. We do have, well, let me just back up a bit. We do have a couple of graduates doing IT security that did Johnson College and Penn College. We have one that's doing security that did Johnson College and one of the SUNYs. And we have another fella. This could be you. Fighting the bad guy, keeping everybody that don't belong in our networks out of them. For the US Air Force, we have a guy that graduated from here, joined the Air Force, and he's in the one of the cybersecurity teams in the Air Force. Anyway, lots of places to go. As far as jobs around here, we're about the same as Biomed. When there's a lot of jobs around here, you'll get a lot of students placing around here, and only a couple of them leaving the area. And some of them go on out to 4-year schools. About half of our students go on either Keystone, Penn College, SUNY, one of the 4-year schools, to get a higher degree. And that's about all I have. I hope I at least didn't put anybody to sleep. If anybody has any questions, bring them on.
Thank you, Mr. Polinsky. We'll check the question inbox to see if we have any questions there. I think we had one regarding information security, and I think you did a pretty good job answering that, and the career paths that our students can take to advance their careers there. So, Alex, do we have any other questions from our participants?
At this point, we did not. We did have the question about security, and then another one they had asked about potential employment. So I know Mr. P had touched on that as well, about some options afterwards with careers.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr.
Absolutely.
Polinsky. And again, if any students, Mr. Polinsky's information is on our website as well. Feel free to reach out and take a look around. And hopefully, when we're able to get back on campus, we could have you in and meet in person. Well, thank you,
Come
Mr.
on
P.
in.
All right.
You're welcome.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the program director for our electronic engineering technology program, Mr. Rick Fornes. Mr. Fornes.
Thanks, Bill. Good evening, everybody. I have been with Johnson College now. This is me completing my 23rd year. Prior to this, I've worked as a broadcast engineer for Warm and Magic 93. I've worked as a biomedical technician for McLeod Regional in Florence, South Carolina. And I've done some electrical work for local electrical contractors. So when you hear those types of jobs, you'll notice that there's sort of a disconnect between them, and yet they're all connected by one thing: electricity. Electricity and the electronics that control that electricity. What Bill has up on our screen right now is what was our former lab. These pictures came from our Weaver Hall, and there on the bench tops, you'll notice that we have very much the same equipment as you saw from the biomedical lab, because biomedical technicians are also electronic technicians. But you'll also see, Bill, if you can swing a little more to the left, wow, there's a traffic light in our lab. Well, what does that have to do with electronics? And really what that has to do with electronics is electronic control. Really programmable logic controllers are the types of controllers that we would use to control things like traffic lights or full automated systems for assembly lines and production facilities. So for our field, our program, we range from small scale integrated style technology, basic AC and DC components as we build up, to solid state, and then into the industrial side. So we really look at that industrial automation side as well as communication electronics. Our major employers in the area, believe it or not, they are communication firms and they're also manufacturing firms. The jobs that we hold in those fields, things like automation technician, instrumentation technician, electronics technician, could be a repair technician, an installer, or excuse me for a second, or a calibration technician, where we would actually calibrate and set up machines for the industries to use. We work for individual companies that might be the manufacturer of the product that we are installing, or we may work at the companies that manufacture things, taking care of their equipment as well. So we have a pretty wide range of the types of jobs that we can do. A lot of it depends on where your heart lies as far as the type of work that you really like. For our courses, you can see the lineup is very similar to what we had for Biomed in our first year. As a matter of fact, in our first year, the electronic engineering technology program and the biomedical program, we're pretty much married together for that first year. And then it's in our second year that we'll split out into the communication and the industrial and industrial automation side for the program. Things that we need our technicians to have, or our future technicians to have: interpersonal skills are really important. Your job many times is to fix a problem that someone is having. And if you're not comfortable communicating with individuals, you'll have a difficult time getting information from them that you actually need to do your work. Some of our students may actually graduate and decide that they like the sales side of the product versus the repair side of the product. And those are perfectly fine positions as well. Locally, throughout our region, we have students employed with places like Lockheed Martin, Tobyhanna Army Depot. I have students that work with JamWorks, that's a robotics integrator that's here locally. They install things like the FANUC robot that you saw from the AMT slideshow in facilities to help other companies with their automation projects. We have students that have worked with automated lifestyles, so that's working with the networking and automation of homes. Characteristics, things that we need you to be comfortable with when you come into the program. We really like a student to have a comfort level with math. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to know everything about math when you come into that program, but you have to have a comfort level with it where it's not actually freaking you out. Oh no, there's a math problem, what do I do? We'll show you what you have to do with those problems to do our circuit solutions and things like that. But we want you to be comfortable doing it. We don't want you to kind of stress out with it. Another characteristic that we really like for our technicians is we'd like you to be puzzle solvers. Typically, any technician in our field or any of the fields that we've talked about tonight or that we talk about in future open houses, a technician is a troubleshooter. We will come in, we'll be presented with the problem, and we need to work our way in a logical process through that problem to come up with a viable solution. And that really doesn't matter what job you're in, whether it's for the electronics or biomed or CIT, or in future open houses, automotive, electrical construction. We're all problem solvers. So do you like to tackle a puzzle? Do you like to stick with the puzzle until you have a solution to it? Those are the characteristics that we really like. Another thing that will go along with being an electronics technician or an engineering technician is investigating and having that questioning mind. Is there a thing out there that I can make to solve a problem that we see? So being able to think about those things, a little abstract thought to solve a problem, those are really good characteristics to have. Is color vision important? Well, color vision can be very important in some of the fields and not as important in some of the other fields. It all depends on how your color perception is, as far as how, if you can determine subtle shades, you're okay. If you look at red and green and there's absolutely no color, that can make things a little bit difficult for you. So I'm open to some questions. Alex, do we have any there on the Q&A?
We actually do have a couple, Mr. Forn. So one student said that they're actually in the electrical program at CTC, and they want to know if that will benefit them in this program.
Any electrical programs are really great to have. Now, one of the big differences between electrical programs and EET style programs is literally just the size of the components that we use and the fact that we will work with more versions of the electrical signal than you do in a regular electrical program. But those are all things that we do cover in our courses.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so two others, Mr. Forns. A student wants to know about internships of this course and if they are available.
There are internships available, but it really goes by what our employers need in the area. So if a student comes into the program, but there's not an internship opening for them to work at, we do have an in-house capstone project that we team up with the AMT students to solve a problem or to build a machine. And that's something that becomes student-led, but we as faculty will be on the side as the guide for you to kind of reach that ultimate goal with it.
Excellent. God, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. Next one.
Sure. And we had one other student who kind of following along that line with internships and potential employment, they wanted to know how much they can earn with this degree. Now, I know that ranges from company to company, but if you had maybe a range that you usually talk about.
It really does range from company to company. Out the door, we have students that go into the mid 17s to the low 18s, and that's dollars per hour with the jobs. So you're looking between the 37 to 38,000 to start. But over time, within 3 to 5 years, they're usually well into the mid 40s and higher. The overall average, if we look nationally, as far as averages, which means we take the highs and the lows together, we're between the 58 and 60K. And that's actually, with folks at the lowest end offsetting the folks at the highest end. Your earning potential deals mainly with the type of work that you really decide to dig into and the part or the location of the country that you decide to work in. Again, this degree, as far as the skill sets from it, are transferable to many, many industries throughout the country. So if you're looking for a way to school locally but live in another location, again, like Biomed, like CIT, these are perfect programs to help you to do that.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Fornes.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Fornes. Very, very, very good information. So now for our electronic and industrial division, those 4 programs wrap up our 2-year associate degree programs. Right now, I would like to introduce our program director for our welding technology, which is our 1-year certificate, Mr. Tony DeLuca. Tony.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
All right.
Hey, I'm Mr. DeLuca. I'm a program director at Johnson College for the welding program. I've been here for 5 years. I had 30 years experience out in the field. Half of my career was in the millwright field, and the other half mostly in piping, pipelines and commercial piping. And that's about it for me on that. I'd like to talk about my program. It is a 2-semester program, which is only 1 year. It is a very fast-paced program. And it covers basically shielded metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, and oxy-fuel cutting. Your typical day would be a 3-day lab in shielded metal arc welding or gas tungsten arc welding in the 2nd semester, and a 1-day lab for gas metal arc welding, flux core welding, and that is a split between the fall and the spring semester. The lecture classes are a 2-day lecture, usually on a Monday and a Wednesday for shielded metal arc welding or gas tungsten arc welding, and a 1-day lecture class on Tuesdays, usually for the gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding. The lecture classes are usually first, which is a 50-minute class, then followed by a 3-hour lab class. And typically you would have to pick one of your sessions. In the morning, it would be from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon, or from 12:30 in the afternoon to 4:30, or a night class which runs from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock. As you can see in our lab here, an overview. There it is. We have 20 actually welding booths in our school right now. Typically, there's usually only 10 to 12 students in a lab at a time. And our students, one thing about it, they do not have to share any of their equipment with any student. So if you're in your lab for 3 hours, you could be welding typically for 3 hours. It's not a stop and have to wait for tools or anything like that. That's what every process that we do have and teach here. And basically, it is the start of a trade within another trade. Usually, welding is a trade which actually branches off into another trade, which you would get into maybe into ironworker work, pipe fitter work, boilermaker work, millwright work, sheet metal work. There's so many different trades that you could get into, and that usually starts in what you like to do and what follows your interest. And there is a mandatory tool list that we do require the students to have for the first day of school. You do use a lot of different tools throughout the year. And we teach a lot about different, not just welding, layout work, how to read blueprints, and so forth. And that's pretty much the makeup of our classes. Average range for somebody starting out in our area is about $35,000 to $40,000 a year, and it goes on and on. I have students that left within 1 year; they're making $80,000 a year. So it's a big variety of different types of trades that welding could get into, and the demand has been really high for the last couple of years. And the American Welding Society is saying that the demand is over 300,000 for the year 2024.
Fantastic, Mr. DeLuca. Thank you so much. We'll take a look here to see if we have any questions coming in. I have a question. So you always hear, wow, welders are such in demand here. Do you have an example of some of those industries or companies that hire our graduates, and or what type of welding that they do when they graduate?
Our demand has been lately has been with the Boilermakers Union and the Ironworkers Union in our area. If a student actually leaves our program, we do offer, and it's in our program that we do offer 2 AWS, American Welding Society tests. If they do pass that, that is a stepping stone, which the Boilermakers and Ironworkers actually look for as far as a student that actually has potential to even better themselves.
Great.
Bill, I do have a question as well.
Okay.
This is going to be more kind of on my end, on the enrollment side of things, but a student did ask, what are the requirements to get into the welding program? Just to answer that, we will get into this a little bit more when we talk about the enrollment requirements in general at the college. Just to give you a quick answer, basically we would need a completed application on our website, and we would also need either an official copy of your high school transcripts or GED scores if you have those. We would need that at the minimum, and then we would get started from there. But if you do apply, we will reach out to you. We will talk about the next steps. It is a little bit unique what's going on now, but we're working with the students the best we can. So again, we'll touch on that a little bit more later.
Great. Thank you. And if anybody does have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Mr. DeLuca. And at this time, I want to thank all of our program directors for taking time out of their evening to review the programs in our electronic and industrial programs in our division. So unless anybody has any more questions, we'll go on into some of the specific departments on campus. So thank you again to our program directors. At this time, I would like to introduce Angela Semke, our senior recruitment advisor, who's going to talk about the enrollment process. Angela.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you. I would just first and foremost like to welcome everybody to our virtual open house. Like everybody has said before, this is something new and exciting for us. But what I'm going to speak about in the next couple of minutes is just the enrollment process in of itself, as well as some of the other programs we have to offer. So as you can see, our programs are broken down by divisions. Today we are talking about the electronic and industrial. In upcoming virtual open houses, we will be discussing the other ones. So our buildings, trade and technology, our transportation and logistics department, and finally, we're going to wrap up the series with our health and animal sciences. Now, the majority of these programs are the 2-year associate degree. You'll come out with either an associate in applied science or an associate in science degree. 3 of these programs are our 1-year academic certificates. Regardless of whether you're going for the academic certificate or the associate degree, you will unfortunately have to take general education classes on top of your program specific. So you will have to take your math, your Englishes, public speaking, microcomputers, classes like that. But the cool thing about Johnson College is that from day one, you will be taking both your hands-on program specific as well as your general education classes. So it's not like you have to go through a year or 2 years of the gen eds before you get into the fun stuff. With that being said, if you are interested, after we go through our virtual open house, after all your questions are answered, if you like to take the next steps, the first thing I would recommend is going to our website, johnson.edu, and clicking the Apply Now button. Since we are in this awful pandemic, we have taken off the $25 application fee. So currently all applications are free of charge. Once you submit your application, we do request that you submit either your high school or your GED transcripts. In addition, if you've had any other college experience, please feel free to send those college transcripts to be reviewed for transfer credits. I do want to note, if you are interested in any of the health or animal sciences, there are additional documents that are required, but I will reach out to you personally once you submit your online application, and we'll go through the process together. Okay. After that, once we get back on campus, once life gets back to somewhat normal, I would highly recommend everybody come to campus to get the feel of it, to see if you're a good fit, to make sure that the facilities are what you like, to interact with some of our current students or our instructors, just to learn a little bit more about us and to get that feel from the college. Obviously, we can't do that now because the campus is currently closed, but like I said, as soon as we reopen, please come visit campus to see how we work. And then finally, the last step would be to complete the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. My colleague, Jessica Farrell, will be speaking about this more in depth in the next couple slides. But at this time, are there any questions about any of the academic programs or the next step?
Thank you, Angela. Right now, I don't see any questions, but very good point. I mean, even though we're not physically on campus, our enrollment staff is available to answer any questions via phone, email. We could do a Zoom face-to-face meeting if you like. So please feel free to reach out with any questions. The contact information is on your screen, and then there's information on our website as well. So with that said, I'd like to move on to our financial aid department, and I will introduce our financial aid director, Jessica Farrell. Jess, take it away.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Like Bill said, I'm the director of financial aid here at Johnson College. I'm also the veteran certifying official. So if there's anybody that has any GI Bill questions, or if you want to submit your eligibility, you can do that directly to me. So tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what financial aid is and how to apply for it. If you're a first-time student, financial aid can be very confusing, and I'm probably going to be going through this a little bit fast, so make sure you jot your questions down and put them in the Q&A. So what is financial aid? Financial aid is funding used to assist students in paying for higher education. Financial aid consists of grants, scholarships, and student loans. Grants and scholarships are your free money, which means you don't have to pay those back. And your student loans, which are loans, will eventually need to be repaid back. So now how to apply. You will need to complete a FAFSA, like Angela had mentioned. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and it can be done one of two ways. You can go online to fafsa.ed.gov, or you can download the My Student Aid mobile app. I personally love the app. It's very user-friendly, and more than one person can be filling the FAFSA out at the same time, so you and your parent can get it done at the same time. Remember, this application is free, so please don't ever pay somebody to do it for you, and if you find yourself on a website that's charging you, you want to get off that website immediately. And if you need help with the application, our office is available to assist. So if you're a Pennsylvania resident, you need to get your FAFSA done by May 15th. Which is quickly approaching. You don't want to miss out on that state grant money because, again, that's free money. So if you plan on attending in the fall, you want to make sure you get that done as soon as possible. So the FAFSA is going to get you set up with your federal and state grants and your federal loans. So what about scholarships? Now, there are a lot of outside scholarships. You probably hear there's ones for, blonde hair, blue eyes, left-handed people, which is true. But you have to be able to put the time in and research the outside scholarships. You also can check with your employer or your parent's employer. Sometimes they offer assistance for college. Johnson College also offers scholarships. We have a little over 30 of them. If you want to be eligible for a Johnson College scholarship, you do have to complete our application, which consists of 4 questions. The application can be found online, or you can email it to me. Once all applications have been submitted, the Johnson College Scholarship Committee We'll sit down and review all applications. I'd like to start doing that hopefully next month. We review throughout the entire summer until all scholarships have been awarded. You will be notified either way, so you will be hearing from me shortly if you've already submitted an application. So federal and private loans are available. Once you've been accepted to the college, you're going to get a financial aid packet from us. This is going to have loads of information, and there's going to be more information on your student loans. So I'm not going to go into all of that tonight because I don't want to throw too much out at you all. So if you don't want to submit a FAFSA, or you have a balance after grants and scholarships, we do have a payment plan available. And again, if you have questions, just let me know. And as previously mentioned, our tuition is about $17,000. Students are billed per semester. So that means you're going to receive 2 statements per year. Their first bill usually goes out the first week in June. So if you've already deposited, be sure to look for that shortly. And remember, when thinking about college, it's important to look at the price of a 2-year versus a 4-year. Student loan debt has been in the news, well, before the coronavirus, has been in the news a lot. The average debt of a Johnson College student is $5,500 to $13,000 a year. You're looking at a loan payment of only about $125 a month. That's totally manageable. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the financial aid office or submit your questions via the Q&A.
Thank you, Jessica. It doesn't look like there's any questions right now, but we will give it a minute. Can you just, here's the question that we often get. Can you just explain a little bit? Did you explain the difference between a grant and a loan?
Yes, so grants are your free money.
Okay.
They don't have to be repaid.
Yep.
And then your student loans, obviously, eventually do have to be repaid.
Right. So I think there's many facets of financial aid in itself, which can come in many forms. So, take advantage of everything that's available to you. And again, if you're not sure, our financial aid team is here to ask questions or to answer your questions with anything you have. And they'll walk you through the process from start to finish. So
Yep, absolutely.
Great. All right, Jess. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. At this time, I'd like to introduce our academic advisor, Jeff Bauman, who's going to be talking about academic advising. Jeff.
Hi, Bill. Good evening, and welcome to everyone who's here on our virtual open house. I'm glad to be here with all of you. I am an academic advisor at Johnson College. The office is staffed by myself and my colleague, Andy Zwanch, who serves as the Senior Director of Student Affairs. We work together to form the Academic Advising Office, and we are there to work with our students while they're here. You've heard from some of our program directors. You've heard from Alex and Angela, and now Jess, about the process of getting to Johnson and choosing Johnson. And now that you're in Johnson, you'll be working with myself and Andy to make a plan and to follow you through your time here at Johnson. You might equate this to a guidance counselor in high school. Someone who's there to check up on you, to see where things are going, to kind of see if you're swaying off track, and to get you back on. Our office is basically an open door. You have a problem, you have something that you're concerned about, we encourage you to sit down, email us, text us, stop us while we're eating lunch, and let us know how you're doing, and we're going to help you get back on track. But not just staying on track, it's also to sit down and talk with you about what your plans are. What do you think you're going to be doing when you leave Johnson College? What type of courses might help you as opposed to others when you're looking at your general education's courses that are offered as an elective? We help you look at your planning your semesters to say, what's going to work for you. And I keep saying you, a lot of this in the academic advising office is about individual attention. That personal experience, that getting to know your name happens in our office and many other offices. And we want to make sure that we connect you with the other resources that you'll hear about tonight throughout Johnson College. Thanks, Bill. When you're enrolling in college, a lot of students are looking to say, well, how can I do it? What am I worried about? That is something our office addresses on a regular basis with our students. Something we have heard from our students and understand is that many of you are working because you already have a part-time job. You may be working full-time before entering college and remaining working full-time, and you wanted to attend college to move yourself forward or to advance yourself in your career, move yourself in that way. We understand that, and we want to help you when you're building your schedule, thinking about how it might work and balance with work life, and making you a good student. Along with work comes with having a family. We understand some of our students, in many cases, are non-traditional, that you have a family, you have a job, and you're caring for or have responsibilities outside of Johnson College. We look to say, well, what is the needs you need to have fulfilled, and how can we make your financial aid work with working with Jess and members of her team, and then working with your faculty to build a schedule that works for you. Students have control of their education along with our advice and expertise of what works. And we look to talk with you about how does full or part-time work in the classroom benefit you? Will that be better for you financially? Will it be better for you time management wise? You know, and we also make sure that you stay on track through that process. We won't just let you say, go ahead, find out what you like to do and help hopefully come back and ask us some questions. We're going to take the time to say, this is this option and this is that option. Let's talk about the pros and cons. That also comes to our flexibility with some of our programs and our general education classes. We offer them in day and evening formats, some of them, which you learn about if you view our website, telling you when our classes are offered on our registrar's website. But also we have online classes. So if you're computer savvy or you're used to being online, we have online options for many of our classes that allow you to have freedom in your schedules. And the final way that we help students with flexibility is looking at our summer and intersession courses. We are a full year campus, which we're very proud of. It allows students to get ahead or caught up, depending on how their semesters are going. And we also offer those courses at a reduced cost outside of our normal tuition. So you'll be able to reduce your costs potentially if you take a summer course and have to take less credits in the fall or the spring by adding courses between the semesters. These are just some ways we create flexibility for students to obtain their degree, to get that career credential that Dr. Katie has talked about and our program directors, to move you into a career industry that needs our students so badly. Now, I've obviously talked about our schedule and what our jobs are as Johnson College advisors. We want to help you transition to college. Getting to know our students is one of the best parts of our job, to understand where you're coming from, whether you're coming from high school or the non-traditional students that are dropping in after being laid off or coming in on tuition reimbursement from their employer. We understand that some of you have been out of the classroom and haven't taken math in a while and might need some brushing up on that. We offer support services that you'll hear about later to get you through the things that you are nervous about. I always tell people I'm a hurdle destroyer as an academic advisor. We try to find the things that are getting in your way and break them down so you can sometimes easily get around them, or so you can work through them because you've been given the tools to succeed. We also, as part of the admissions process, you will submit through a placement exam for our math and English, and we will review those scores to decide which courses are the best for you. If you have some trouble with math or English, you know, as your strong suit, we don't want to put you into a full-fledged college course. We will offer you our placement classes, so that way we can build the skills necessary for you to succeed in your program classes too. You heard all of our program directors talk about the soft skills and the ability to work with people. Building the skills is what we're also doing outside of the classroom for you.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. And one thing that I certainly want to point out is, like Jeff mentioned, we're not only just hands-on in the classroom, we're definitely hands-on from our support services and academic advising. Our staff will know each and every student and where they are and are really vested in their success and try to do everything they can to get them through to the end. And that's what academic advising really plays a big part in. So, Alex, do you know if there's any questions out there for our academic advising department?
We actually do not have any questions right now, Bill.
Okay. Well, then we shall move on. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our counselor and manager of disability services, Emily Holmes, who will be talking about our counseling and disability services. Emily, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. So first, I just wanted to say, just like everybody else has been, thank you so much for attending our virtual open house. It's so nice to be able to interact with folks. We're used to having everybody come on campus, which we love so much. So at least right now, we're able to continue interacting in a different way. So as Bill had said, I work in the Counseling and Disability Services office. So I am a licensed professional counselor. So I usually start just by explaining counseling services a little bit more. So all of our services are free and confidential. If you have tried counseling before, or if you haven't, it's something to definitely consider while you are at Johnson College, because it is free. And in many cases, it helps students just to, deal with some of the other stressors or things that are going on in their lives that may be holding them back from being their best self in classes, their best student. So right here, I just have an image that just shows a little bit about some of the issues that folks will come to our office for help with. So sometimes students may come with really specific requests or look for a very specific type of counseling. So we do not serve as primary therapists, meaning that may be someone that you see over holidays, over the summer, and maybe can go back to years from now if there's another issue that arises. So we offer supportive level services, but still with that, some students may come to us once a week. Sometimes students will pop into my office even a few times a week just to let me know how the classes are going, fill me in on any social things that they're involved in, and any stressors that may be coming up. So just something to keep in mind. One of the biggest reasons that students do come to our office is for support into this college transition. As many people had mentioned before, some individuals may be coming right from high school and may have really struggled with organization, study skills. Maybe in some cases, they don't have a lot of experience with doing homework because that wasn't a big expectation. Other students may be coming back to classes after, 10, 20 years outside of being in a classroom setting. So we help folks just to get back on track and learn different skills that are going to help them be successful in their classes. Organization, time management, study skills. If you experience text anxiety, also learning a little bit more about your particular learning style and what works best for you. And also we encourage folks, if you're having issues in your classes or with an instructor, come and talk to us so that we can help to come up with the best resolution for those situations. So if anybody has questions at the end, I can answer that when it comes to counseling. But right now I'm going to move into disability services. So if you had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school, or if you have a disability condition that you feel may hold you back academically, or may prevent you from experiencing campus life and just Johnson College life to the fullest, certainly talk with myself and John Stolen, who's another person in my office. That is our main job for helping individuals gain access to all of the opportunities that we offer. So I always like to point out a few things at this point just to keep in mind, because a lot of times individuals coming from high school especially, will say to me, does my school just automatically send my IEP or my 504 plan? They do not. So that is all of your private information. So if you are interested or applying for Johnson College, you can just request that they send that information along so that we have it. One thing to keep in mind also is that accommodations cannot be retroactive. What that means is that your accommodations for your classes go into place after you give us the documentation, we meet together and we create your new plan at Johnson College. So even if you're someone who, maybe had a little bit of extra time on test, but doesn't think that you may need it in college, I still encourage you to register with our office so that way it's in place. So if you find that you are starting to struggle or you may want a less distracting environment, we can immediately, implement those accommodations, as opposed to you having to come and kind of start that whole process from scratch. So that's something to think about. Another thing that folks will often ask is, do all of my accommodations from high school or other colleges automatically transfer? So the accommodation process, how we come up with your accommodations, is very interactive. Myself and John, we sit down with you. Maybe it's individuals of your family that you choose to bring with you, just to talk a little bit about, you know, what has helped you in the past and what you think may be helpful in our classes. But the biggest difference between high school classes and college classes is that we can't alter the fundamental nature of the courses. I usually use welding as an example. So let's say, for instance, you're used to taking every exam in a distraction-reduced environment. In welding, they take a safety test, and that you have to do in the lab with the equipment so that the instructor can make sure that you can safely operate all of that equipment. So that obviously would have to be done in the lab. So that's just one example I use where we may just have to tweak some of the accommodations just to make sure that you are still meeting all of the requirements of the courses. So that's something to keep in mind. And
Great.
one last thing I always like to kind of end with is that, so in our department, we also have a student pantry. So if you or a peer that you know in classes may be struggling with having supplies for classes, notebooks, pens, or even, we also have grab and go food items. So definitely get in touch with us if you find that, or again, if you have a friend, refer them to us so that, we can help as best that we can to make sure that your needs are met.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. It doesn't look like we have any questions, but of course, feel free. Emily's contact information is on the screen. Once again, thank you, Emily.
Thanks.
And at this time, I'm going to introduce potentially our career services manager. We may have a pinch hitter coming in to step forward because I think she got pulled away on some other duties, but we're going to hear from career service. Hey, Dana, are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
Thanks,
so Dana
Bill.
Healy, you got it.
So as Bill said, I'm Dana Healy, the career services manager at Johnson College. Is my video, I want to make sure my video is working. There it is. Okay. So the career services department starts building a platform to connect students with employers immediately, starting with orientation. Myself and Greg Race, the coordinator for the department, along with faculty, work closely with students utilizing certain classes, resume and interview workshops, industry visits, fall and spring career fairs to help make you the best possible job candidates for your field. Johnson College has a great relationship with industry. We stay in contact with them all the time. Industry is always calling. We're always emailing, attending events with different industry. Internships are a great way to market the skills you obtain. And we also have several different ways that we get the employment opportunities out to you. So we use internal job boards, LinkedIn, email, social media to communicate employment opportunities sent to us from different industry for current students and alumni. I also want to talk about our career fairs. So twice a year, spring and fall, we hold a career fair. They're amazing. They are only for you. They're only for students and alumni. They're not open to the public. And we start getting questions about career fair and people asking to be a part of career fair months in advance. So industry is there. They really want our students, and the career fairs are such a great way to help you get prepared for using your interview skills, getting ready for internship, getting ready for your job searching. So that's why I think the career fairs are so great for students and for employers. We also bring employers in to your classrooms and you go on field trips as well. But the career fairs are just a staple and they're only for you. So that's about all. Does anybody have any questions for career services or job placement?
Thank you, Dana. I don't see any, but I think this is, this is one of the top reasons that students do choose Johnson College is our connection with the industry and our dedication to really bringing those two together, students and industry, and helping our students get jobs. And that's part of how, we work, because our students work and we help you there. So thank you, Dana. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, Bill.
Got it. Right now, I'd like to introduce Ashley Hassanbein, our Academic Resource Officer, who's going to talk a little bit about our Resource Center. Ashley.
Thank you, Bill. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. Again, we're so glad to be able to connect with you virtually since we can't see you in person. Like Bill said, my name is Ashley Hassanbein. I am the Academic Resource Officer here at Johnson College, kind of like a librarian of sorts. At Johnson College, we do kind of a different spin on a traditional library. So what we've done is we've reimagined kind of our version of a library to fit our school and what our students need and would like to see. So in our resource center, you'll see furniture that you can move around. You'll see beanbag chairs. We want you to grab a cup of coffee and a snack, come in, work in groups of 1, groups of 12, groups of 6. Whatever you need to do to be comfortable to fulfill an assignment or a requirement. Maybe it's working in groups, maybe it's working on your own. The Resource Center is divided into, it's a large space and it's divided into a couple of different sections. We do have, if you need like a quieter area, it's definitely not, it's distraction reduced, it's not distraction free. We have like a room where you can go in, close the door, there's a computer in there, there'll be another beanbag chair in there, a table, go in by yourself with groups, study. Do what you need to do. A lot of times instructors will come up and have office hours up there. So maybe you meet your instructor there for some extra help, or maybe you do your tutoring there, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. We also have, actually we will, or we're hoping to have coming up in the fall, a brand new bank of laptop computers, sleek kind of state-of-the-art computers that'll be up against a really cool bar with high top bar stools for like another kind of cafe style place where you can sit. Open so that you can see, maybe it's a group of 1 or 2 working together, so you can team up and collaborate that way. We also have 2 big TV screens where you can plug in a laptop and project whatever it is you're working on onto the big screen if you're working with collaborating. I know that a lot of our instructors try to make our students collaborate with each other as much as they can, and that's a really cool thing that we do in the Resource Center. The biggest program that I run or that we have here at Johnson College through the Resource Center is our tutoring program. And tutoring at Johnson is super cool, and I don't just say that because it's the program that I manage, but it's cool because many students come in. I'd say the majority of students that come and see me, they're not, oh no, I'm failing, it's too late, I have to go to the Resource Center or the library, I have to see a tutor. A lot of times it's students that have an A, B, maybe a C, and they need a second set of eyes. They just want to sit down with someone, talk about an assignment, have someone look over their research paper, have someone go over a math problem. And the way that we offer it is twofold. We have walk-in hours. So what you'll see in the Resource Center is a big whiteboard right next to my desk, and it has, for the semester, the times do stay pretty much the same weekly depending on the tutor schedule, but it's usually pretty consistent. You'll see which courses have walk-in hours at that time. Our Gen Ed courses, our most popular courses for tutoring, our CPT, our math courses, our English courses. I usually have tutors there where you can walk in. Maybe you need to meet for 5 minutes, maybe you need to meet for the full hour, but it's walk-in, no arrangements necessary. I also have students that prefer a more regimented approach. So they will set kind of weekly sessions, or maybe 2 or 3 days a week, whatever they need, with a tutor, and it's something that they do each week, and they come in and they work on a consistent project with their tutor. So that's how we handle tutoring at Johnson College, and if you have any questions about that, I can answer in a few minutes. One of the last features of the Resource Center would be our books and the actual resources that we have. So we do have a small collection of books. Because we are a technical college, and in this day and age, most of our resources are online. We use databases, we use manuals for our program areas, whatever it may be. Instead of buying the editions for the computer or for the Resource Center, and they are out of date, we do everything electronically for the most part. But if you do need a hands-on book, or you're someone that really wants to look at a book for a research paper or a project, we do have a small collection that you can check out. Textbook reserves are popular. If you have, you've ordered a textbook, it's come in late, or if you want to borrow a textbook for the day, or maybe you just forgot it. I do have textbooks for most of the classes. You can come in, check it out, keep it in the Resource Center, and do your work or do what you need to do. We also do have access to some of the premier academic databases for classes. We use Learn, which is the Library Information Resource Network, and that's just a fancy resource database that kind of encompasses many smaller databases, and you would go in and search that like you would your ProQuest or your ERIC or Gale. If you remember from high school, I'm sure you used a database of some sort, and if not, we'll definitely get you up to speed with that. The last thing I want to mention is our resource center. I do host a lot of events. I shouldn't say I work hand in hand with many departments on campus, if not all, but primarily I do work a lot with other departments in the Moffitt Student Center, where our cafeteria is located, and that is, I work with career services, I work with student engagement, I work with Emily and John. Emily, who just spoke with you, from Counseling and Disability Services. Dana, you just heard from in Career Services, and then Nolan Lenz and Melissa Kirschman, you'll hear from them coming up. So again, keep your eyes and ears open for events through the Resource Center. That's also where you sign up for tutoring, and come on in, we'll get you what you need. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Ashley. Just taking a look to see if there's any questions coming in for the Resource Center. If not, of course, you can always reach out directly to Ashley. Okay, so
thank you.
At this time, I will introduce one of those other departments in the Moffitt Student Center Ashley mentioned about, is our Student Engagement Director, who oversees our Student Engagement Department, Mr. Nolan Renz. Go ahead, Nolan.
All right, thank you, Bill. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. As Bill said, my name is Nolan Renz. I'm the Director of Student Engagement. The department is made up of two of us. I work along with Melissa Kirschman, who's our Coordinator of Student Engagement. And we wear a couple different hats. So I'm going to talk to you about a few of the different things that we do. And one of the first things I want to talk about are the events that we host. We do a lot of campus events right on campus. We also do some off-campus events. So as far as our on-campus events go, we do a lot of different things with a lot of different topics. We do a welcome week, fall semester, right when we start. We do a big tie-dye cookout that week and try to get everybody together. We do what we call the Welcome Back Bash, which is a way for you to come in a collective spot. All of our departments, a lot of the people that you already heard from tonight, all are set up. If you have questions right off the bat at the first week of school, then we all get together in one place, to be there to provide information to you, answer questions. We had an ice cream truck last year. So, all of our events, there's always some kind of free giveaway or free food or something to that effect to make it even more enjoyable for you. We also do, events like Stress Busters around finals week, which are just a good way for you to, come out, get together, unwind a little bit, blow off some steam. We try to equip you with some extra tools to be successful for finals. We have a big spring day, which is like our big carnival at the end of the year. We do a lot of kind of workforce, professional building, skill building, events throughout the year where we help you try to become the best professional you can be, on top of, having those kind of events that are just kind of a chance for you to get together and meet some other students. But like I said, we also do off-campus events. We do a big off-campus event every month. They could be anything from a paintball trip to a rail riders game to Dorney Park. We did the aquarium this year. We did an escape room. So like I said, we try to do one big event off campus each month. And like the paintball, for example, we pay for everything. For all our events, you never have to pay anything. You don't have to pay a dime at the door or, when you get there, whatever it is. But like paintball, we bust everyone down to Skirmish USA. We bought all their equipment. We bought all their paint. And, we had a really full day, a really nice fun day of doing paintball. So those are just some of the events that we do. Our department is also responsible for overseeing our clubs and organizations on campus. We have a student government, which is kind of like your student council or, your executive council at a high school. They work to improve our student experience. We have a JAG group, which is our Johnson Activity Group. They help plan other events for our students. They've done bingo nights and paint nights and, you name it, they get together, they plan them, they pick them. We really try to give our students a lot of ownership over our clubs, because we don't feel like it's right to impose what we think are good ideas. We want to be able to facilitate what the students want to do and what they think will be successful with our students. We also have a social force, which is our community service group. Another organization, so to speak, are our student ambassadors. That is a group of students who have to apply and be accepted. They get recommendations from faculty or staff to get into the program. It's a leadership program. They're very involved helping out, other students. It's kind of like a mentor program. It's kind of, they do a little bit of everything as far as engaging our current and potential students. So we try to, like I said, gear our, our clubs and our experiences towards our students' interests. we can always start a new club. We've, been starting a gaming club this year. We had a student who was very interested in esports and gaming, so we worked with him to try to teach him to get, his club off the ground and make it be successful. We also are responsible for the fitness center, and, we have a full gym, and we have all kinds of fitness equipment to use, at all times. The building's open, really good opportunity for our students. But another one that we're responsible for is our student housing, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit more now. So we do offer student housing. I know it has come up a few times tonight in the presentation. Our housing is offered at the Microtel Inn and Suites. It's 2 blocks from our campus. So we don't actually have physical buildings on campus where our students live. We use the Microtel. Everything runs right through us. We have RAs that we train and that live in the Microtel with our housing students. There's always at least one on call. They are always on call with one of our staff members. So they're while they're at a hotel, we do have, every kind of step in place that you would normally see at a regular residence hall. The RAs do programming for our students, but just to give you a little more information about the rooms themselves, every room is a double occupancy, 2 queen-size beds in each room. You get housekeeping service included, so they, take care of your towels and your sheets and your trash, and they clean up your room a little bit. You still have to kind of keep it tidy. But, there's a TV and a fridge and a microwave in every room. There's breakfast downstairs every morning. So our students really come to enjoy living in our housing and in the Microtel. I know sometimes it doesn't seem at first thought like it's, what you would expect from college housing, but the rooms are just as big as any other dorm room that you would have as a freshman experience. And the beds are bigger. There's actually more amenities. So it's a pretty great option. As far as housing goes, like I said, it's only 2 blocks from campus. You can walk there. Most of our students have cars, but a lot of our students who don't walk or who don't have a car, they can walk or they can get a ride with a friend. A little bit about housing. The other things our department is responsible for are parking, student conduct, orientation. Parking's free, so that's another plus. But that's about it. I know it's a couple different topics, so if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Definitely. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Rentz. A lot of great activities. I think one thing we do stress is, we certainly want to tie a lot of the activities and that we do to, professional development to help you prepare for work, in addition to allowing the students the opportunity to tell us what, clubs or organizations they want to do. So anybody with more questions, feel free to reach out to Mr. Renz. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to our Associate Director of Academics, Aubrey Armazzani. Aubrey.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Bill. Thank you for introducing me. As Bill said, I am Aubrey Armazzani. I am the Associate Director of Academics, and I'd like to focus my part of our virtual open house on the Office of the Registrar. So one big aspect that is handled by the Office of the Registrar is transfer credits. If you are a student who has prior education or you are wondering if your credits will transfer to Johnson College, I encourage you to get your transcript to the registrar's office or to the enrollment rep that you're working with at any time between now and the summer. Have no fear, given the current climate that we're in. We will always be able to help you with transfer credits, and it typically takes us about a week to kind of evaluate it, make sure that it is comparable to the curriculum that we teach at the college, and then we give you an answer whether it's yes or no. But we just want to make sure that you I really want to stress this, is that if you are a transfer student looking to come in the fall, please do not be hectic or chaotic about what we're dealing with right now. We will be able to evaluate those. We accept those all the way up until the last day of the first week of the semester. So it's very easy, and we have a really good process of how we evaluate credits. We just make sure that, as I said, it's comparable to our curriculum and that it's been assessed by the program expert of whatever field you're trying to transfer in. So whether you're looking to transfer in just regular general education courses, or you're actually transferring in something that's more core related, like an electronics course or a CIT, something along those lines, we always make sure that we are steering you in the right direction and giving you the feedback, whether we don't accept it or just giving you the transfer credit evaluation of what we do accept. So the second thing on my list is the prior learning assessment. And I know that that has been mentioned many times throughout this entire presentation. And as you guys have just probably realized, we have so many ties to industry and focus our education on a curriculum based on the skills needed from local businesses all the way to major corporations. So if you're entering Johnson College with some prior knowledge of this field, we have a wonderful group of faculty who are looking to assess your knowledge based on your skill level. And this is applicable also if you have any military background. So any veterans out there, if you served as a certain person in your group that you were always focused on electronics, like please give me your JST, your joint service transcript, so that way I can make sure I get that to the right faculty member, as I said. And we can also apply transfer credit through the PLA, which is the prior learning assessment. So basically just actual experience that you've gained in your life that we're willing to accept for transfer credit. And we have many students who have taken that route, and we really want to just make sure that if that's something that you have done or you work in fields, please let us know, because we're always willing to help. And then the last thing that is a big focus of the Office of the Registrar is articulation agreements. So this is for those students who take 2 years at Johnson College and are looking to further their education into possibly a bachelor's degree. We have articulations currently with 2 local colleges and one that is very nice, sunny Florida, I believe, or right off the coast of Florida. It's called St. Matthews. That focuses with our vet students, our veterinary technology students. So you can get your veterinary technology degree at the school and then transfer that to more of a biology-based field at that St. Matthews. We also have articulation agreements with Keystone College and Marywood University in fields such as computer information technology, physical therapy assistant, business, logistics, and also, as I said, veterinary technology in those fields as well. So, transfer credit is a big deal, and we really want to make sure that we get all that information out to you. But as everyone has been saying, I am here to answer any questions, and I'm just hoping that everyone's doing very well during this time.
Thank you, Aubrey. Appreciate it. If anybody has any questions for the Office of Academics, I do see a question in there, but it kind of ties right into our next kind of recap. Alex Ellsworth and our enrollment leadership and Angela Semke, our senior recruitment advisor, kind of could go through our next steps, but this ties right in. So how soon, because this is our last step on the presentation, but it should be the next step of prospective students. How soon after I apply will I hear if I've been accepted? So Alex, Angela, take it away and bring us home.
Okay, thanks, Bill. So to answer that question very quickly, I'm just going to hit the first 2 points on this slide. Once you apply at johnson.edu, we will need your high school transcripts. And if you have any college or previous learning credits that might be transferring in. Once we receive those, your recruitment advisor will review your high school transcripts, and you should have an answer within the next day or 2 after we receive your high school transcripts. Now, please keep in mind that we will need your final official transcripts. So if you're currently in high school, we could definitely get an unofficial right now. But if you have already graduated, again, you could submit the unofficial, but in the end, we will need the official transcripts. If you are having it mailed to us, we have been checking our mail at the actual physical Johnson College, but it might be a little delayed with your high school sending it out and with us getting it. Typically though, within a week of us, of you applying and submitting your high school transcripts, if all goes well, then we will definitely be able to get you an answer, okay? Also, just to recap, once you complete your application, once you submit those transcripts, please fill out that FAFSA for your free application for federal student aid to see what kind of grants and loans you have. For our fall semester, our fall 2020 semester is going to be starting on Monday, August 31st. And our next open house, our physical open house, is going to be on Wednesday, July 15th. I do want to let you know, if you're interested in any additional virtual open houses, we do have a couple more coming up in the near future. So our next one is going to be on Thursday, April 16th. It is going to be for our Building Trade and Technology program. On Tuesday, April 21st is going to be our Transportation and Logistics. And finally, on Wednesday, April 29th is going to be our Health and Animal Sciences. You can register online, again, just like you did for this one, same spot, just choose the different dates. Okay.
Angela, so for somebody in their senior year of high school or soon to be senior, when should they wait to apply and submit their transcripts to get accepted?
I would do it right now. We could use your unofficial transcripts, meaning that we'll look at your first 3 years, your freshman, sophomore, and junior year. We'll go ahead and evaluate them. If your guidance counselor can put what classes you're currently taking in your senior year, that will be helpful. If not, not a big deal. I also would like to mention, if you took the SATs or ACTs, please have them included on your high school transcripts. They're not required, but if you did well on them, you may be eligible for merit scholarships. So that's extra money, free money for you.
Great, definitely. And for those of you who maybe are not quite in your senior year yet, maybe you're sophomores or juniors, there are opportunities to earn credit while you're still in high school, whether it be through dual enrollment or our industry fast track program. So that's another option that you could do while you're still in high school. But great, thanks, Ange. Do we have any other questions out there from the group of participants? And we're a few minutes over, but I think for our first try, we came in pretty good on time. And this information will be sent out to you as well. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of these staff members on here or visit the website for programmatic information. And with that, I'll give it another couple of seconds to make sure nobody has any last minute questions. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for participating in our very first virtual open house. And if anybody is interested in learning more on building trades and technology, join us next Thursday night. Thank you very much.